from him, and his struggles went on for just long enough that you started to wonder, is Stoffel ever going to get it together this season? And then once he started to, you were like, yeah, this is the guy that dominated F2, that went and won races in Super Formula, that everyone was so excited about seeing in a Formula One car. He is a serious talent still, and it's just a difficult situation for him to be learning his trade in. So he's gone through that. He's got that experience. There just seems a confidence about him as well this year that I think we're going to see some really good performances from Stoffel. That should push Fernando on a bit more. So they're still going to be happier. We can't forget how poor the 3 years before were really for that team. And a step in the right direction is going to be welcome, however big or small it is.
They let Fernando go to Indianapolis instead of Monaco. I'm just saying.
Well, exactly. It just shows how dire it was at that time. But what a great story that was. And look what it's made. I mean, Fernando's now in motorsport. He's royalty because he'll jump at anything. And so many people appreciate that about him. That then buys in the ability to be a bit more demanding, because you feel like he's running that McLaren team a little bit at times, but it's kind of working for him from his own personal life point of view. So why not? And it would just be great to see him fighting for wins. I don't think we're going to see that very often, if at all, this year, but we are going to see him much nearer at the front. And he admits himself that lets him access that extra couple of percent that you need, and that he clearly has. That when there's a big result on offer, he just steps up a level, and we need to see that more this year, because he is one of the best out there.
Well, all I can tell you is we know he won't be going back to Indy in May, but if things start getting ugly with McLaren in June, we might see him turn up the Pikes Peak hill climb. I don't know. He might need something just to put it behind him. So you've already said that you expect McLaren to move up in the Constructors' Championship. Hard not to do when you finish 9th out of 10 teams. Looking at how Renault finished 6th last year, do you think McLaren could match or surpass the factory that is supplying the engines they'll be using in this year's Constructor Championship? Or is that too much of an ask?
I think if you'd have asked me before pre-season testing, I'd have said yes. But having seen pre-season, I was impressed with Renault, and I think it's just going about things the right way that I'm going to say no. I'm going to have the factory team just holding off McLaren, because pre-season hurt McLaren. It didn't get enough running. It says it did, but you need as much as you can get, and the team will deal with it well, but it just won't be at its full potential from the start of the year. And I think, in what could end up quite a tight battle, I think that'll mean it just misses out against the Works team.
Let's stick with Renault, the Renault Sport Formula One program. It seems to me that recent team infrastructure changes should continue to be a benefit for them as an entrant, Chris. We'll get to the drivers in a minute, but seems like the car that they have produced is a good one for 2018. What do you think of the team itself and its ability to campaign it successfully, call the right strategies? It's great to spit a quick car out of the factory, but then you have to rely on a lot of people to get the most out of it and get the most out of it through an entire season. What have you seen within the Renault Sport program to make you believe that they will be in a better position competitively running these cars this year, or if they have fallen back a little bit?
What I've seen is realistic targets from them, actually. I think they're underplayed sometimes, and Renault has made huge investments, but it knows that doesn't instantly translate into results, and it's going to be patient. During last year, we saw the impact of its kind of finances and better facilities with the way it developed its car. So it's clearly got a good technical team to develop a car there. And where it started with a car that was struggling a bit, it ended the year, realistically with the fourth fastest car. So I think that momentum that it's got this year, it's not then gone, we ended the year with the fourth fastest, so we need to aim to be in the top three. It's gone, so if we can be consistently fourth fastest this year, that's a good step forward. And when you give a team a realistic target and it hits it, that confidence that it gives the team, that sort of momentum it gives the team, it breeds a good atmosphere and it breeds more success. So I think it probably was saying we need to be at least fifth this year. We need to improve on last year's sixth place. So that meant being fourth quickest sometimes, fifth quickest others. Maybe McLaren would beat it, it thought. And it said, right, at least top five. And it's going to be top five. So it's, there's going to be some happy people there. And they've got a strong driver lineup. They've got a strong technical team. They've got plenty of money behind them. They are able to marry the power unit to the chassis the way it wants to because it's a works team. But then it has two partners that are hugely demanding, hugely successful in the past, that it can kind of learn from. And I think all of it sort of put together means that the team's in a pretty good place to continue the momentum it was building last year. And I'm leaning now towards Renault being fourth overall by the end of the season. And I wouldn't have said that during the winter. I thought it might need a bit more time, but no, I was pretty impressed with them during pre-season testing. I mean, it can be dangerous to pin your colours to the mast that easily, and I'm sure everyone will tell me I'm wrong at the end of the year if I am. But from what we've seen and the impression you get and the atmosphere within the team, I think that's got its kind of priorities right and it's got its expectations in check, which is going to help it achieve them.
I think we would be safe in saying, Chris, that under the rebadged full takeover Renault Sport badge, this is the strongest driver lineup they have launched, have had to launch a new season with, obviously with Carlos Sainz Jr. coming in during the 2017 season or while it was underway. We saw great glimpses. I think many of us know this kid is truly special. Now that we have both Carlos and Nico Hülkenberg starting off full season, this one, I've gone from being Team Nico, not against Carlos in any way, but a definite believer that Nico Hülkenberg was not a future world champion, but boy, this guy could be really good. A consistent race winner, front runner, something where, again, I don't believe he has world champion talent, but just a smidge beneath. And this guy is going to be a serious operator for years to come. That enthusiasm is waning a little bit. I don't know. I'm curious your thoughts on whether you think Nico is someone who still has a couple percent, whatever it is, of talent to tap into that he hasn't before, and there's more to come, or if he's at that perilous place of, ooh, you got a young teammate who looks like he wants to just murder you, and you better watch out, man, because your stock could plummet mightily by the end of the season. Where do you fall in those general thoughts of what might happen here?
Yeah, I mean, this is a big year for Nico because, with all respect to Jolyon Palmer, he did not have a representative benchmark to go up against last year, so he could cruise a bit during the season, whereas Carlos came in and sort of said, you're going to have to step it up a bit. And I look at Nico a bit like Fernando, actually. There's times when there's a bigger result on offer and he does just perform that little bit better. That potential's in there. And I remember him doing it in a Sauber. I think it was in Korea when in his year for Sauber, and he was running fourth and just holding off a train of quicker cars for the whole race. It was a great performance because it was a result that car shouldn't have been able to get, and he had the car in position, and when it was there to hold on to, he wasn't going to let it go. So I think he does still have that in him, that extra few percent that says, if that car's a race winner, he'll win the races. But the dynamic there is great as well because Nico, his eggs are in the Renault basket. If he's going to be a race winner or a world champion, it's going to be with Renault. He's going to have built the team up or helped it improve, and then he'll reap the rewards if it hits that level in the next couple of years. Carlos isn't there for that reason. Carlos is there while he waits for a Red Bull seat to open up, and he's there to impress Red Bull in more competitive machinery than he had in Toro Rosso. So they're kind of fighting for different things. And their futures lie in different places. And that means that I think there's more potential for sort of on-track incidents between the two and for a relationship that would break down. And, Carlos didn't have a good relationship with Max. And, it does take two to tango. So as nice as a guy as Carlos is, and he looks very chilled and easygoing, and Nico the same, I think when it really comes down to it, that could get pretty feisty. But that might be what Nico needs to really push him to sort of show that, yeah, this is a horse worth backing for when we can win championships. Because you're right, if Carlos beats him this year, then question marks will pop in the Renault's head that we need someone even better when we're a race-winning team. We need an Alonso or a Hamilton or a Vettel standard driver, or a Ricciardo maybe. We need someone that we think is a level up again. So Nico's got to prove that this year. And yeah, I do think it's in there, but there's last year was the opposite. Last year he could take it almost easy because he was going to stand out as the better driver during most of the year. This year he definitely doesn't have that luxury. So yeah, I lean more towards him proving it, but yeah, he's going to have some pressure there.
He does strike me as a pressure driver, which you've mentioned. I think that's a brilliant analysis. It's not as if elite drivers ever really try less hard. They're use the word again, they're gradients here. Every driver is not at 100% of every single lap. If it's a 90-second lap at wherever, the driver is not at 100% effort and their capabilities during every fraction of those 90 seconds. They might say they are, but again, inevitably, there's a 99% at this corner, there's a 98% braking effort in this corner. They're little fractions that do not add up to, the proverbial maximum attack at all times. And so when you look at drivers and that intra-team dynamic and the person sitting next to them in the garage, there are those who will operate at that 98, 99% on their own, but do need that pressure. That's the thing they thrive on is, you talk about, or you listen to mixed martial artists or boxers. There are some who say, I need to hate that guy across from me in the ring in order for me to bring out the best of myself. And those tend to be, at least for what I believe I've seen and you've mentioned, more in the Nico Hülkenberg category, where you go, okay, well, if they're feeling that pressure, the thing that they really crave to then become that beast, then you see amazing performances. But if they're not able to feel that, see that, tap into that, you don't always get the best. And then you get the others who almost seem somewhat oblivious to whomever's around them. In IndyCar here, we refer to Scott Dixon as, the greatest of his generation. And he just rocks up and does what he does. Oh, you're my teammate? Cool. Nice to meet you. Welcome to my rearview mirror. It's not a mean thing. It's not a personal thing. It's just whomever else is in that team that isn't driving his car or attached to it, it's not even really a consideration. That pressure is internal, and it's a constant driving force. So I think it's a really astute point there, Chris, that, for Nico, maybe a Carlos who does want to relegate him to P2 within that team every single session, maybe that is what Nico will need to get back to the form that gave such strong impressions of what he could be in the not too recent past. So you've already hinted that you think they could be moving up into that general P4 in the Constructors' Championship. Let's jump over to the quagmire that is my, quote, home team, the Haas Formula One program, and I guess some odd comments from Gunther Steiner aside, seems like the car is more capable than last year's. I don't know if the Romain Grosjean complains about his brake saga will ever come to an end, but what is visiting upon your lovely brain, Chris, about Gene Haas, this F1 program moving into its third season, and if they have made enough moves, either with vehicle progress or just gelling as a team, because I haven't heard of many, big, we've swapped out this guy for that guy type off-season moves. Where do you think they could be in 2018 as a competitive unit?
I'm looking at Haas as a top 6 team this year. I was really impressed with their car in testing, and I was